all our Sports Today family members. We are just about, you may say, 10 hours away from the India versus Afghanistan encounter that's going to happen at the Kensington Oval in Barbados. The real World Cup, the real T20 World Cup 2024 is finally beginning today for India, because after all the warm-ups, after all the trailers, you now have the real picture in the T20 World Cup. And if you have to look at Barbados, India can't have a much more difficult setup than you have to already look at it, because as I mentioned in another videos, there is a 71-year jinx that India is plagued with in Barbados. They have only won 2 internationals there. And on top of that, they're going to open their encounter at Barbados, and they'll be potentially playing the final also at the same venue. Now, what is the current situation when you have to look at Barbados's pitch and the weather conditions? The weather conditions, firstly, in Barbados today are absolutely fine. There is no threat of rain whatsoever. So you'll have an uninterrupted full game between India and Afghanistan. But on the other hand, if you have to look at the pitch is a lottery. Every pitch that is there in the West Indies for the T20 World Cup of 2024 has been an absolute lottery. In Barbados, you have seen where you saw the first 200 plus total scored against Australia versus England. Only later did St. Lucia come up with a 200 plus total. St. Lucia has been the only venue where you've gotten maximum scores there. So that's why Barbados will be a lottery. And yesterday in the report that Nikhil did from Barbados, he had mentioned that they are horizontally trying to roll the pitch so that it flattens out. But otherwise, it could be a slow rank turner that was there. In the practice pitches, you're getting rank turning strips there. So that is why the Barbados wicket will be an absolute lottery. And if you look at it, India have played most of their games in the daytime, and Afghanistan are playing their first day game, if memory serves me right, because all their games in Taruba and Guyana were all in the night. This is the first day game that they are going to play there. So that is why it is a big, big achievement indeed that Afghanistan have made it. Remember, earlier A1, C1 seeding was India, New Zealand. But since New Zealand are out, it's India, Afghanistan. So the pitch might be a flat deck. Yes, you'll get in the range of 160 to 170. That is the total that is expected. But it will also be slow and sluggish as the game goes on. So that is how the Barbados wicket might be. But we don't know how on earth will every team, every batting unit manage, because these two batting units have had contrasting fortunes. Both their bowlers have set it up for them. And that's why it's a very, very important thing when it comes to that. So bowling unit has been great among both India and Afghanistan. But it remains to be seen whether Afghanistan's batters can step up. India's batters can. And this is where there has been a question about Virat Kohli. Now, Virat Kohli's only scored 5 runs. But Matthew Hayden, the former Australia opener, has said, just leave him alone. You will need Virat Kohli's style of play in the West Indies so that you can get to a good total and India winning. On the other hand, he stated it is a bad decision to bat Virat Kohli at number 3. Because for the style that he plays, for the template that he's employed in order to get back into form, opening is the best slot for him. And that is why Matthew Hayden's told everybody, just leave Virat Kohli alone. He will come back to form in the West Indies leg of the T20 World Cup. Now, after the West Indies versus England match, there is an injury concern for the West Indies with Brandon King apparently in danger of missing the entire tournament due to a side strain. He had to retire hurt during the West Indies versus England game, and that is why Brandon King's chances of playing in the T20 World Cup now are all but over, because his side strain has meant that he could miss the rest of the tournament. So that's a big, big blow for the West Indies. As far as the results are concerned, USA managed to push South Africa close, but they lost by 18 runs. Today, England, just about an hour ago, England absolutely decimated the West Indies by 8 wickets with more than 2 overs to spare. In fact, 17 balls to spare, they chased down 180. And that's why England have made a strong statement of intent. After the USA versus South Africa match, Curtly Ambrose went into the USA dressing room. Curtly Ambrose, we all know, is one of the greatest West Indies bowlers that have been there from the island. And in Antigua, he is their hometown hero. So that's why Curtly Ambrose told the USA team that you played really well, you pushed them, and this is what is going to help you further when you progress in your cricket. So that's why he said you played brilliantly. So USA have shown that there are no pushovers heading into the Super 8 stage. Yes, they might give you a fight, they might give you all these things, but at this point in time, it is very important to note that Group 2 is very, very tricky. West Indies have lost to England. USA have lost to South Africa. Now England will take on South Africa tomorrow, and then you have West Indies, South Africa towards the fag end. It's going to be a very interesting Group 2 at this point in time. Now, as far as other sports are concerned, especially when it comes to women's cricket, India's women's team managed a big, big win, just by 4 runs in the clash versus South Africa. They needed 6 from 3, South Africa, yet they lost. Typical South Africa in that sense. On the other hand, Hayley Matthews might miss the ODI series versus Sri Lanka due to illness. She could be back for the T20I series as well. Now, let's focus our attention to other sports. And today, Copa America is starting. And this is the thing that's there. Messi in the lead as Argentina launch title defense. Can they become only the second team in the world after Spain to win World Cup and their league tournaments twice? That is the major thing. So Lionel Messi and Argentina will be hoping that they can really do well. The Copa America begins today, in addition to what has been happening in the Euros. Action-packed day in the Euros yesterday, with Croatia just escaping with a draw against Albania, 2-2. It was a really, really close affair there. And that's why Croatia somehow are still in there, but then it will be a very, very tough task for them to make it to the round of 16. On the other hand, Germany have all but sealed their qualification by beating Hungary 3-1. Germany beat Hungary 3-1, and with their 5-1 win against Scotland, they are almost through to the round of 16. Then if you have to look at all the other things, there is also one more. For the second time, if you look at it, in just about a decade, you're seeing America hosting the FIFA in the Copa America at this point in time. So it's going to be a big, big feat indeed, whether we can see 2 teams kind of step up to it, 2 continents step up to it. Euro will end by July 14th. Copa is ending on July 15th. And that's why a lot of football action is going to be there at this point. So it's a big, big day. India versus Afghanistan, but the night game will be Australia versus Bangladesh. There you've got a big spin thread that is there. Will Australia live up to it, or will Bangladesh continue to be inconsistent at this point? After their loss to South Africa, they have kind of made it pretty consistent. They beat Netherlands, they beat Nepal, and that's why Bangladesh also, everything that they do from this point of time is a bonus. So that's why it's a good thing. Sri Citizen is like telling me, wow, England back in form at the wrong time for other thing. Don't want India-England semi-final. Well, you don't know. If you get them, you have to play them. As simple as that. You signed up for the tournament, you have to play them. And looks like the pitch could be an equalizer in Providence, Guyana, because the spin threat might be huge. In Barbados, there is a talk that you will play for 3 spinners. So you will have Kuldeep, Aksar, and you could have Jaddu. 1 pacer might drop. So that is why it is going to be a big, big thing. What is my playing 11 if you have to look at it for the India-Afghanistan series, the match that's going to happen in Barbados? Rohit, Virat, Rishabh Pant, that will be your top 3. Then you've got Suryakumar Yadav, Shivam Dube, Hardik Pandya, Ravindra Jadeja, Aksar Patel, Kuldeep Yadav. Then you've got Arshdeep Singh and Jasprit Bumrah. That might be my playing 11 at this point, but you never know what's going to happen. So this is the current situation regarding India versus Afghanistan. And she said Monang Patel, if he returns, could boost USA batting and add some spice to Super 8. Sri Citizen, we are expecting too much from the US. The one team that they can potentially beat is the West Indies. England on current form against the Minnows. Let's just accept it that they are Minnows. Just because they beat Pakistan, we don't have to romanticize it over. And as I have said, after June 29th, let's see how many nations remember the USA when they want to play a bilateral series for them. As simple as that. I've seen too much of cricket to ensure that this trend doesn't change. So hold your horses when it comes to USA at this point in time. So India versus Afghanistan. We are gearing up for it at Barbados. Let's see how that pans out. Thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this video. Subscribe to Sports Today for all the latest news and analysis. And we are also there on Facebook, Instagram, and X for that matter. Bye bye.